Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to create an iOS plugin to record audio in Godot game engine. So we will be making use of the Swift Godot dependency or library inside our iOS plugin. So let's get started. As usual, you would require macOS as well as you would require Xcode installed from the Apple App Store. I have already installed it. Now, this is just a cheat sheet which I have created, and here I have just created one folder named Godot. You can name it whatever you feel like. You don't even have to create this folder. It's just that at the end of this tutorial there will be 3 different projects. That's why I have created one parent folder. So it's up to you how you organize your code. So first, you can just go to this particular documentation, and here it has list down all the steps. So just open Xcode. You can just click on File, New, select Package. Then here in multi-platform, select library, click next again, and here inside Godot I will just create this. Now I have named my library as just my library. You can name it whatever you feel like, but do remember this name because this name will be used in lot other places as well. If you are doing this for the very first time, it's better you follow what I'm doing. So I will just click on create. So it has created the library for us. Then you just have to open this package.swift file which is present. At the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot still does not support Swift version 6, so I had to change it to 5.10. But you should check the Swift Godot repository, GitHub repository, to check whether they support Swift version 6 and above or not. If yes, then you don't have to make this change. Okay, then we need to add this particular bit of code. Again, this code is in the documentation. If you just scroll down, here you can see after products we have to add it. So after products I will just add this, and you have to do Command S, so it will automatically download the dependencies for us using Swift package manager. So here you can see it has downloaded it for us, so just be patient for a few seconds. Then we need to add this platform iOS version 17. In the documentation they have given it for macOS, okay, but we can just add something like this. Minimum deployment target, I have kept it as version 17 for iOS because I was facing issues on lower deployment targets. Then we have to add this type dynamic as well. So here you can see after library name they have added this type dynamic, so I will add that as well. Then we need to add these dependencies as well, so I'll just copy this, and if you scroll down, here you can see we have to add this dependency section. So inside target, after name I add a comma and just paste this particular bit of code. I'll just improve the indentation a bit. Okay, then we have to go to my library or whatever is your library name. Now I will just cheat a little bit. I already have the code for it, so I will just copy some code. My library.swift. Okay, so I'll just copy this code and I'll paste it over here. So first we have to import UIKit, Swift Foundation, Swift Godot as well as AV Foundation. Then this is the boilerplate code which you have to write for Swift Godot. So again, this should be your own library name. Here we have created a class of audio recorder delegate, and it extends AV audio recorder delegate. It has this callback, okay, and it overrides this two method from AV audio recorder delegate. Okay, if you want to handle errors, you can create one more callback as well. Then there is audio player delegate, because once we record the audio, we want to play the audio as well, that's why. So here I have created this AV audio player delegate as well. Again, I have created this callback, and we are overriding these two methods from AV audio player delegate. And once it has did finish playing, I just call this particular callback. If you want to handle error, you can do that as well. Then this is the actual main class. We are annotating with @main actor so that it runs on the main thread, and @Godot because this particular class needs to be called from GD script as well. Then we are extending ref counted for memory management. This is a signal which we have defined. I'm not sure if you are using that signal or not. Yeah, we are using some signals. Okay, okay, let me just change this. Okay, next, if you are seeing all this error, please ignore this error, like Xcode does not play nicely with Swift Godot. That's why we are seeing these errors. Then here we create an AV audio session, an AV audio recorder as well as AV audio player. Then we create those recorder delegate as well as player delegate. Then inside the main init method, I think we have to override both of this, and the code inside both of them is same. We are creating a task and we are running this again on the main actor, on the main thread. So we initialize all this stuff, and we just set up AV audio session as well as setup delegate as well. Same thing we are doing over here as well. So inside setup audio session, we just initialize our recording session. Then we set the category as well. We set active as true. Then we request the permission. If it is allowed, then I just send a signal that permission has been granted, because before recording the audio we require the permission as well. If not, then we just say fail to record. If you want to send error from this catch clause as well, you can do that. Then here we are just setting up delegate. So on finish recording, we just do recording finished successfully. Here we say recording failed. On finish playing, we just say playback finished successfully and playback failed as well. Okay, then to start the recording, here we are just creating an first a file. You can name this whatever you feel like. Okay, then here we are setting, you can change this setting to whatever you feel like. Then here we create an AV audio recorder. We set the delegate for it. We call do record as well, and then we just emit in case if there is any failure. For stop recording, we just stop and just set it to null. For playing the recording again we get hold of the same file. We just initialize our AV audio player, set the delegate, prepare to play, volume is 1, and just play it. In case of failure, again I send a signal, and to stop playing it, if player is not equal to null, we just stop the player. And here we have created one helper method called get documents directory, where we are actually saving the file. So yeah, that's it. Now what I'll do is I'll just remove my cheat sheet, and the Godot folder which we had created, I will open it inside VS Code. Okay, because we need to create a bin.sh file, and I always mess up while creating it from Xcode. That's why I'm using VS Code. If you are comfortable creating it from Xcode, you can do that as well. So inside my library, I will just create a file called bin.sh. okay, then what you will, sorry, not bin, it should be build.sh. and here we just have to go to this particular repository and copy some code. So I'll just copy all this stuff and I'll paste it inside my build.sh file. Make sure you save it. If you are using VS Code like me, VS Code does not automatically save it. And here we have to change it to our library name. So I'll just name it to my library. And we have to add one more thing which is not missing inside the build.sh which we have copied. We have to add the skip macro validation. So make sure you add this as well. Okay, once this is done, we can just open our terminal. We will have to cd to the Godot to the library which we have created. So I'll just drag and drop it over here. I'll clear everything out. Then I can just copy this particular command and I'll paste it over here. Then I'll copy this particular command. Now I'm not planning it to deploy this particular app to Apple App Store, so I can just generate the debug framework. But if you are planning it to deploy to Apple App Store, you should generate release. So instead of debug, you just have to write release. But for now, I'm just okay with debug. So I'll just run this. Now this will take a little bit of time, so let it do its thing. In the meantime, I will just open Godot Game Engine. At the time of recording this video, I am using Godot 4.3.0. So I'll just click on create. I'll click on browse. I will go to my Godot folder which I have created. So over here I'll click on select current folder. Now I will just name it as my Godot project. Okay, and I'll click on create and edit. Okay, then here I'll just go to project, export, add iOS. I'll click on fix import. Here you have to enter your App Store team ID. I will enter mine later on, but make sure you enter your App Store team ID now only. To get your App Store team ID, you can go to this particular URL which will guide you how to get your App Store team ID. Next you have to enter your bundle identifier. Typically it is com dot your company name dot your app name, so I will enter something random. Okay, I'll click on close. Then I'll click on 2D scene. I'll save it, command S, save it, and I'll run it as well so that my current scene is selected. So here you can see, just so that I don't forget it later on before exporting this project as iOS project from Godot game engine. Then here I will just create 4 buttons. Okay, so here is one button. I'll just duplicate this. I'll add one more button over here. I'll duplicate this. I'll add one more button over here and I'll duplicate this. Add one more button over here. Then here for the first button I'll name it as record. Second button you can just name it as stop recording. I'll just name it as stop. Third button play the recording. Okay, and fourth is for again stop playing, so I'll just name it again as stops, maybe stop playing, I'll just name it. Okay, then we have to attach one script to this. Then we'll just go to our button and add the press signal for each and every button. So here is our second button, I'll add the press signal. This is our third button, I'll add the press signal as well. And this is the fourth button where I will add the press signal as well. Okay, now again I'll just cheat a little bit. So what I'll do is, again I'll just go to my old project and I'll just copy some code. So here first I'll just copy this particular line of code. Yeah, if you want you can create a label as well just to see those signals which we are sending. So I'll just quickly create one label as well. Again, this is just for understanding purpose, you don't really have to create it. And if you want to change the font size you can do that as well. Theme override font size 40. Okay, and I'll go back to our script. I'll just copy this particular first part, so this variable which we create for initializing our library, then I will just drag and drop this and I'll paste it over here. So this is our label. Then we have to initialize this, so again I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here inside ready. So here you can see that we just this should be our own library name as well as this should be our own library name. So we are just initializing our library and here we are connecting our signal as well. Then we'll just copy this. So this is for our signal method. You can name it whatever you feel like. So whenever our signal gets called, we just update our label text to whatever data which we have got. Then these were the methods which we had defined inside our Godot class, right? Sorry, our iOS plugin. So I'm using the same method name. So in case if you use some different method name, you'll have to use some different name. In case if you forgot, here you can see stop play, we are annotated with @callable, right? That means this should be called from Godot side. Again, this is for second for stopping the recording. This is for third play, and this is for fourth stop playing. Okay, make sure you save it. Then if you go to your terminal, here you can see this has also succeeded. Again I'll just go to VS Code. I'll just close this, I'll close this as well. Here is our Godot project as well. So I'll just inside that I'll create one folder, bin folder. You can do this from Godot game engine as well, and you will have to create one file called whatever is your library name .gd extension. So in my case it is my library.gd extension. Now if I just show you Godot game engine again, if I try to open this, at least in Godot 4.3.0 I'm not able to open this. I don't know why. That's why I'm using VS Code. So inside this particular GD extension file we have to copy some code. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just go to the library. Okay, the iOS plugin, go to bin, go to iOS, and I'll just copy these two folders. Then I'll go back, I'll go to my Godot project, I'll go to bin and I'll just paste it over here. So this is done. Then what I'll do is I'll create one iOS folder as well. You don't have to name it iOS, you can name it whatever you feel like, but in this folder we will be exporting the entire project. So just go back to Godot game engine. So here just again go to project, export, and here you can just click on export project, go to the iOS folder and click on save. Now the export will take a little bit of time, so be patient. So as you can see, my project was exported successfully. Then I can just go to the iOS folder and double click on this .xcode proj file. It will open it for you in Xcode. Then you can just run your project. Now make sure you run this project on a real device. It will not work on a simulator, so be careful with that. So yeah, let's just wait for this. Like, I'm not sure if I could make you guys hear the recorded audio, but let's try, because I'm mirroring my device, and when I'm mirroring my device, uh, the my Mac audio takes precedence over the iPad audio, or if it is playing anything. But let's see if it works or not. So here you can see I am running my device, running my app. Now this will take a little bit of time because I'm running it for the very first time. I don't know why, uh, but yeah, let's just wait. Okay, and here you can see it is asking me for microphone permission. Now before I click on allow, one more thing which I want to tell you. If you go to the supporting files, right click on this, open as source code, and here you can see that, uh, if you see over here, somewhere over here, here you can see the microphone usage description is present by default, at least for Godot 4.3.0 when you export an iOS project from it. But in future they might decide to remove it, but make sure you add this particular bit of code as well. And here you have to specify why your app require this permission. So I can just add record audio. Maybe you can write a better description than me, but make sure you have this particular bit of code inside your info.plist before running this app. At least for Godot 4.3.0 this is present by default, but they might change it in future. So here is our output. I'll click on allow. So permission was granted. I'll click on record. Hello, I'm recording something, please record something. I'll click on stop now. Okay, I'll click on play. So it is not playing it for me. I mean, it is playing, but you can't really hear the audio because, like I told, my Mac audio takes precedence on this. But just try it on your side and it should play, and you can just use the stop playing option as well. Trust me, just it works. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.